and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Calling this regular board meeting ORS 92.630 to order at 6:01 this evening. Mindy is homesick and Macy is finishing her basketball coaching this evening, so neither will be here. Mindy will be watching the video and taking the minutes from that when she's feeling better, so minutes will take place this evening. Has everyone had a chance to look through the minutes from last meeting?
Yes, I move we approve the consent agenda.
All righty, is there a second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. All righty, we've got a thank you note here from the family of Martha Phillips. Gratefully acknowledges your kind expression of sympathy. Thank you so much for all of the support card, gift card, and emotional during this difficult time. My family truly appreciates this school district and the people who make it great. Sincerely, Peggy. So we got that.
They had a service. They had a service for Martha.
Oh, okay.
So that's the thank you note.
Okay, perfect. Let's get right into, we have no guests present in our meeting live. Administrative reports, let's skip to Carter.
Okay. I got a lead with, I was out of town Monday due to my mother-in-law passing. And so when you're out of town as an administrator for a day, the next day you show up as a catch-up day and you just run and hustle and catch up. And then today I went to the superintendent's meeting, so I was out of the building again today. So I want to start with the superintendent's meeting. There was some positive news from the superintendent's meeting as far as funds. So when about a month ago, we were talking about a 5 to 10% reduction. And then ODE required us to provide a whole bunch of opportunities of reductions. School districts have done that. ODE has done that, provided that to the legislature. But now the latest and greatest talk is we have rainy day funds in the state of Oregon. Those rainy day funds are funded. They're fully funded right now. We cannot put any more money into it based on the parameters. And so they're talking about spending some of those rainy day funds because lottery dollars are what backfill those funds. So if we spend some of that money, which is $1.2 billion, and we backfill the deficit from our current year, then those dollars should regenerate by the time we get, moving forward into the biennium. So it's really positive that having the governor and the legislatures and ODE all kind of coming together and delivering the same message is a unicorn. Like it's usually, somebody is on one side of the fence and somebody's on the other side of the fence. But this is the first time that I can remember in a long time that those three parties are together and saying, now is the time to spend rainy day funds. This is what rainy day funds are for. And so that's really good. And so that's the first thing in the state that I'm hearing from that's positive. The second thing, I don't know if you remember, but Portland Public Schools in the last, a year and a half ago, they had a huge debacle, right? They had this huge budget deficit. They laid the superintendent off in the middle of the year, and everybody cried wolf that we are not accounting for funds for schools appropriately. It's not very easily for the user to understand what schools are spending money on. We know, we look at our budget all the time, right? Once a year, we're going through the budget, the line items. And so then They came out and said, well, we need to get more deeper dive into the budget and we need to create all new line items. And so what's it called is it's called the Program Budget and Accounting Manual Update. They want to basically, instead of, 100 different line items, they want 1,000. And so what we as business managers, Mindy, myself as superintendent, were explaining to ODE is that you can't mandate this in the middle of the year. We're bound to our provider. We're bound to the system that we have right now. And you're telling us we have to update this. We can't do that in the middle of the year. We can't do that next year because the provider that accounts for all of our accounting software basically isn't ready to create the new manual that they want. And then we explain to them that you don't think that provider isn't going to say, hey, you want us to do this? Great. Now pay us this. And so that I think people are starting in the legislature and in ODE are starting to hear. So they postponed the budget manual update from this year to next year, but we're still pushing back on next year's too soon. And if you want us to do this, you're going to have to give us more money because somebody's going to have to pay for it. So that was, that was a temporary good news for me. And I'm hopeful that she's happy to hear that it's not going to happen in the middle of this year. And most of us in the region are pushing that it shouldn't even happen next year. And if you want it to happen, you got to fund it. So that because you're taking money away from kids is what we have explained. So the second thing is there's this big push for accountability. They want more accountability measures. And they haven't finalized those accountability measures, but the sneak preview that we got on those accountability measures is that there's going to be 5 of them. And many of the school districts are accomplishing a lot of those already. The low-hanging fruit that I know we're doing and that I can check all those boxes and I can write the report and submit it that we're doing that is the CTE program. We've developed a great CTE program for kids, and we have that career and technical education, which is 50% of our kids are going into the workforce. We need to teach them those skills, and we're doing that. The second one is the advanced college classes. Like, how many advanced college classes are you offering? The classes like Writing 121, Math 111, all those classes that we are currently offering, we're offering in the classrooms in the high school. That's low-hanging fruit that we're already doing. I could write the report today showing that we're meeting that accountability measure, and it's easy for us to measure it. The one that I'm excited about that I want to push towards, because they're saying, hey, you only have to do 1 next year. Well, I've been around long enough that I think they want you to do 1 next year. Then the year after, they're going to say, okay, now we want you to do a second one. The year after that, now we want you to do a third one. That's my interpretation, is until we get all 5 of them. So the third one that I think that as the district that I think is exactly one of my personal goals is that assessment, like in getting the data to drive what we're doing in the classroom. And so one of the things that we can do is kind of beef up our iReady and push iReady not only just with math, but push iReady into reading, and iReady goes up to 10th grade. So we could beef it up, and then we can start measuring kid to kid, right? You could measure Carter to how Carter did at the beginning of the year, to how Carter did at the middle of the year, to how Carter did at the end of the year. And that's data that is going to drive what we're going to do and drive our curriculum choices and those kinds of things. And so that is something that I feel that I think we're going to be able to easily accomplish, and it's going to be good for us. And so some of these accountability things, or you read some of the articles about that stuff, I don't believe we need to be nervous about it, or we need to be worried about it. As far as that's like the 10,000 foot level, we have the Christmas party coming up tomorrow night. That's staff sponsored. The staff wanted to have it, and so they set it up. We have the Christmas program that I'm sure Chris will talk about next week. I would encourage you to come. I would encourage you to hand out programs and candy canes in the foyer. It is going to be the first year of Miss Carson putting on this Christmas program. We talked about it at nauseum. in your staff meeting today, Chris. But it's a good way for you as a board member, and I say this every year, to get a view of our clientele. You're going to watch the kids and watch the parents come in, and that kind of might help or impact your decision making down the road. And it's Christmas, and it's like a traditional holiday Christmas program, and so it's great. So those are some of the things there. The final thing I want to talk about is the Bobcat Den. The Bobcat Den is tearing it up. It is really impacting kids. It's giving us flexibility in the high school. We're able to make sure that we're serving kids, and it's working. It really is working. It's something that I did not realize how important it was. And so I'm super excited about that. And I really, a lot of that is wrong. And you guys know how she's everything I'm not. And she does a great job. And so I want to continue that. She works really hard. She cares a lot. And she puts a lot of extra effort in, and it's really paying off. So other than that, I think, the young kids that we hired at the beginning of this year have really kind of got into stride. We have some great things going on. Basketball season is here. Our girls team was very successful last weekend. That's great news. Junior high is going to finish up this week. And then we have our high school Christmas holiday classic next week in the gym. So if you like basketball, you got 3 nights of basketball, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's everything I've got going for you. 5 days to Christmas break.
What are the 2 other accountability? We've got advanced course, a CTE assessment. Is it freshman on track?
No, it's an interesting one. It's 5th grade science achievement.
Oh.
And so the studies behind that, and I find this pretty interesting, and I agree with it, is that in 5th grade with 5th grade science, in that science test, you're going to have to use some math skills. You have to use some reading skills. There's a lot of, higher order thinking skills. And so to put it all into one assessment, you're getting lots of different things. You're not getting just math. You're not getting just reading. You're not getting just writing. You're getting kind of a good combination of the 3. And so I think that's another one that I feel like we could do, but these other ones I feel like toot our own horn a little bit better. And then the On Track to English Language Proficiency Rate, which is an interesting one, and how they're going to calculate that, I'm not exactly sure. But most of the superintendents, when we read this stuff and we discussed it today, we talked about CTE and post-secondary. And those being the 2 that most of us in this region will prioritize, and then move to that academic growth piece where we're looking at the iReady reading and math assessments. So yeah, any other questions? Those are great.
Anything else? All right. Would you please give Mindy's?
Yes, so I have a couple things for you. The check listing has gone around. And then we talked today about the audits, the audit correction. The audit correction, the fund for the tiny house and the fund for the special education stipends are in full compliance with budget law. And so that I'm happy to report that out. I felt like I just needed to report that out to you. She has all of the paperwork. All of the paperwork has been updated, but I didn't think you needed a second copy of all of that stuff. And so I did not bring it. So that is, that's the stuff that Mindy and I talked, and then I'll talk about the other stuff later. So that's what Mindy asked me to report to you.
Okay. Any questions about any of that? Did any of you have questions on the check listing? Chris, what's up?
You can see our numbers are the same as last month at the top. As Carter alluded to, at our staff meeting tonight, we made our plan for mid-year assessments. We plan to train our aides, our classified staff to administer our DIBELS assessment, which is a language arts assessment. So we're going to commit to 3 days to getting that done. It'll be a faster process for us, and it'll create more consistent data collected. And it'll be the format that we use moving forward. If you'd like to know more about that, I can explain that later, but that's kind of the gist of that. So we are getting ready to improve our assessment already at the elementary. Like Carter alluded to, we have quite a bit of practice going into our Christmas program. Mrs. Carson, with her first time around, is a little nervous about it, but she's going to do great. And she just needs to get through her first one.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not worried.
no.
Good grief, you know.
She's going to do great. She just puts a lot of pressure on herself, and the unknown is hard. Sometimes that, especially when you're putting on a program with 250 kids. So, yeah, it's a big deal coming up. We are also in the works at the elementary and having Yolanda Westerberg, who last year came in multiple times throughout the year to help improve our writing process in the elementary school. And she'll definitely be with us in February. We're trying to get her here in January, just so that we can use the information that she gives us for the rest of the year rather than having to wait till February. So I'm working with the IMESD to try to steal the day away from a different district that has her. This is kind of an exciting thing that came across my desk here the last week or so. Blue Mountain Community College is working with local 6th grade classes to have 6th graders come and preview their programs. So the different degrees that Blue Mountain provides as part of Students in Need. So they're going to send a survey to 6th grade students. 6th graders can kind of talk about what they have interest in right now, and then they will go tour those different programs in April. And so it's a little bit of advertising for themselves, plus it also kind of sets kids in the mindset of what's available at Union High School as far as what we provide for CTE too. So I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like this spring. In October, I told you that I was going to Milton Free Water to look at a playground program. I spoke with a gentleman at the IMESD, and he is currently in the works of trying to write a grant to bring that program back to Eastern Oregon next fall to train a couple of districts together on how to use those resources as far as training staff on how to manage kids, use games in a functionable way that creates less issues. And so I'm excited to see if we get that grant and can put that into play next fall. So that's kind of an exciting thing. And then finally, our book fair is kind of a big thing for kids and families in our community. And Susie Sheehy does a great job of organizing that, putting it on, and keeping that open each night for this week, so families can get in there and use that. So if you know Susie Sheehy or see her around, you can thank her for her efforts with that. She's done a great job.
Or if you want to buy a book, come on in.
Okay.
All right, any questions for Chris? All righty, just how is the crowd at basketball?
I was there last Thursday for our opening night of high school. We had 2 sheriff's deputies in sight. They were in the doorway the entire time. The message, we have a new message that our athletic directors are reading before each game. That's pretty direct. That basically, if you don't want to be a good person, we're going to ask you to leave.
So, and it ends with Union School District reserves the right to remove anyone for any reason at any time. That's what that message ends with.
And I was there for 4 games and it was without issue. They were 4 blowout games, which helps.
Well, yeah.
But it was a great start to the season.
Perfect, perfect, and thank you for being there administratively and AD wise. Appreciate that extra effort.
Yeah, next weekend will be a big weekend. We have multiple games, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Well, we host a junior high end of the year tournament this weekend too. That starts Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
So
So that'll be another opportunity. Excellent.
Can we all have an eye on out to help or do you to watch?
I would come, and if you have a problem, my plan is to be at all of our current varsity home games. Yeah. If somebody's misbehaving, you go to the scores table, they'll find me, and I'll go sit and talk to them.
I haven't seen anybody.
Yeah, well, and I think the message is pretty clear, you know.
and I think the people that we're targeting know we're talking to them as well.
Surprise. Okay,
Yeah,
You know, honestly, you hit themselves.
good.
well, and
Excellent.
and I think what I would say is, and Mike, what I'm going to say to somebody in the bleachers, if they're yelling at an official, like in my prediction and maybe even in my career, we are going to run out of officials. People are not going to want to be officials or officiate if we keep this kind of behavior up. And I don't want to be the result of that. I don't want to be the result of somebody's students not being able to participate because we can't find people that are willing to go officiate.
We're gonna have to pay them so much money that the schools aren't gonna afford to have officials.
Yeah.
It's gonna go one way or the other.
Yeah. So, yeah, we want to be the school that officials want to come. to.
Correct. Exactly.
And that way, we're not going to have issues trying to keep things moving forward.
I agree.
Perfect. Thank you for being proactive. No policy items. Oh, darn. Internet connectivity to the athletic complex, where are we at?
Everything's still out for bid and we haven't heard anything yet.
Okay,
So still out for bid and we're waiting, patiently waiting.
okay.
I have some real quick. I spoke with Cecil George, since our last meeting, and I know he volunteers and does the snow plowing
Yeah.
and stuff. I just mentioned to him about what we had talked about at the last meeting with them throwing the snow into the handicap spot and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So he said he was gonna go, and he was like, I don't even know where the handicap spots are, to be honest with you. So he said he was gonna go scope it all out, and then he was gonna be mindful of that in the future. So,
Nice.
yeah.
And just to add to that, Chris and I went around and made sure all those handicap doors work. They all work, everything functions. It somehow, some switch got flipped and so we've got it all figured out. Everything's working. Then I've talked with John and the AMPed class is going to create him a template to draw or paint. It's not draw, paint the handicap symbol on the parking spot right next to that ramp where there already is one. He's going to paint a second one.
Oh, nice.
So we will have added a second one and we'll remove the sign from the wrestling room. And then there'll be two spots. All of the doors work with the buttons. And so I think we've accomplished some of those things that we wanted to try to do.
I tested the button out on Saturday. So I'm trying to make sure it works.
Yeah.
I was like, if it doesn't work, at least I know there's a switch up there. So-
Yeah. Yep. It's everything's working.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks to Chris. I couldn't reach the button. No, he figured it out. He's like, it was pretty ingenious, man. I mean, you're like, this works. It was working just like a week ago. So there's little switches and the toggles have to be in the right sequence or it won't work. And so if you're cleaning the window and you're wiping the thing down and you accidentally hit the toggle, then, anyway. And we have high school kids that like to see that kind of stuff and go, what's this do?
Nice. Good
Yep.
news on that.
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion items? Action items, the grant agreement for Student Success Act.
We have talked about this ad nauseam. Okay, you have seen this. This is actually the grant agreement. I believe it was in your email that Mindy sent to you. Yes, and so what we're doing right now is we are presenting this to you. You have been presented with the grant agreement. We've talked about what the grant agreement is all about. And now we have to officially put it under action items that you've been presented with the grant agreement. And then Mindy will make sure the minutes reflect that. And then that's why it's on the agenda.
Do we approve it or just say, notice it?
The grant agreement has been presented and approved, yes, so you would have to take action to approve it.
I move we approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Yeah, we better do a roll call on this one. Sorry, I did that wrong. Deb? Aye. Nick?
Aye.
Number, and Jocelyn? Aye. Always sassy. All right. We have a letter of retirement from Rebecca Williams. To whomever it concerns, after giving a lot of thought, I've decided to retire from Union School District as the elementary custodian. Date effective January 1st, 2026. So coming right up. There's additional information. I'm going to pass this around and you can read that. But we will need to act on that, accept her letter of retirement. So do we have a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
We just say aye.
Deb, Nick, Mark, Jocelyn, aye. So do we have applications out or that's, Posted
We've
or-
already filled the position.
oh,
We filled the position. She has been on leave. And so we filled the position in the fall with Corton Novak.
oh,
And so he's been working and per contract language, if you've been employed for over, I believe it's 90 days, then you become a permanent employee, you receive benefits and all those things. So he's just going to transition into her position as she exits.
okay. So she hasn't been working anyway
Correct.
and he has. been.
Correct. Yes,
Is it possible to do an exit interview on that,
we could.
please?
Yeah.